Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Star Trek Starships collection review. I have in front of me and you, of course, the Jupiter Station special issue. This station was referenced first earlier on in Star Trek Voyager, and then, of course, it was later seen on the same series. And this is the station that Dr. Louis Zimmerman was posted at, where he developed the emergency medical hologram, also known as the EMH, where he used himself as the template for the various EMHs around Starfleet, including the one obviously famously on Voyager itself. And so, yeah, it was, like I said, referenced first, seen later on, and Eaglemoss made a model of it. And here is the magazine and the big old box that it comes in. One thing I want to point out is that this box is different. Obviously, this thing is huge, and you have your images on the sides on top of it. But before, the packages used to say simply Voyager, TNG, DS9, Enterprise, and TOS. But now it shows Discovery and Picard. Unfortunately, the latter two were victims of Eaglemoss going under, so we likely won't see any more ships from either of these two series, which is a shame, especially from here, because I hear season 3 has some great stuff in there. And the Eaglemoss logo, Hero Collectors on the side, and it boldly says Jupiter Station. So yeah, I'm going to get this aside for a moment and show you the magazine that came with it. All right, folks, and there's the magazine for Jupiter Station, the special issue. Let's see, you got a nice image there on the cover and some information briefly down there in the corner on the right-hand side. Considered a research station. It's in use in the 24th century. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, Dr. Louis Zimmerman was its primary resident, and it was used as a holo programming center. So you open it up, and once more, the template is the same, with your table of contents, and with a little bit more information here, which actually, no, it's about the same. The only thing that I did not mention before is that it was located in Jupiter's orbit in Earth's solar system. Turn the page, and we have yet another, but yet gorgeous view of the station. I think this is the shot, or one of the shots seen on the show. And you have some text here and a small image of Dr. Louis Zimmerman, who looks a little prematurely aged, perhaps by the illnesses that he was suffering from. And more on that, another shot, as well as the hologram of, I think her name was Haley, if I'm not mistaken, that he created to keep himself company. And then, of course, Reginald Barclay. And then when the doctor was transmitted to the Alpha Quadrant to help cure him, also a visit by Counselor Troy. And then what I consider to be one of my favorite shots from all the series was this quote-unquote camera shot of the doctor and Dr. Louis Zimmerman. I thought that was pretty cool. So we have some text down here and a little bit more about him. And then we turn the page and we have what would normally be the plan views. And you could just see a few angles of the station there. But notice in the magazine there's no information there, no lines showing you where things are or what they are. Probably because it was never really explained on screen. I guess it's safe to assume that these are the solar arrays. So, I mean, I guess that's self-explanatory there. And then we have a section on the designing of the Jupiter Station, and this talks about that. You see the early computer renderings. And it was also one of the first CG space stations to use digital effects, so it was never a physical model until now. Yeah, there's that image that I told you about a minute ago. The great image there from the episode. Lifeline, I think it was. Yep. So more about that. And then some more text about the background of that episode and Dr. Zimmerman himself. He, of course, made an appearance on Deep Space Nine because he wanted to model the LMH, or the long-term medical hologram, after Dr. Bashir, but obviously that didn't happen because it was revealed that he was genetically enhanced and barely survived without losing his career or his commission. And then more on Dr. Zimmerman, the EMH, and the Jupiter station, of course. And the key episode he appeared in on DS9, as I mentioned. And on the back page, key appearances, the only appearance in Lifeline, and it was first mentioned, I believe, in The Cloud. Oh, and yeah, it says it here. And that's about it. So pretty much that's the end of that. It's a pretty solid magazine here. You know, I see this page telling you what else is or was available. It's a little bit bittersweet considering what happened with Eagle Moss. But I guess you could still find these various ships on eBay, on Amazon, and various other collectible outlets. But you won't get them from Eagle Moss anymore, which is sad. But the back of the magazine concludes with a smaller image of the top of the station there. And yeah, that pretty much wraps that up. So now, without further ado, I'm going to get to the station itself once I get the box open. Okay, folks, and here we are. Wow, this thing is huge. It's a space station, so what do you expect? I had to be very careful removing this thing from the box because of the delicate parts and antenna arrays, solar arrays, and that sort of thing. Wow, the design, the paint job on this thing is spectacular. Look at that up close. It says United Federation of Planets, Jupiter Station on both sides. The magazine mentioned that the various sections of the station were basically saucer sections, and they do look like Galaxy-class saucer sections, minus the phaser arrays, which would have been cool if they left them there. Would have been a great way to have the station defend itself, I suppose, in the case of an emergency. You see the solar antennas with minor paneling on them in the paint to reflect the solar stuff. You got your top antenna arrays. Mine don't appear to be damaged in any way. The bottom looks good. Look, there's those phaser arrays that I'm thinking. This is a very delicate station. It comes with a stand, but I won't bother putting it up. You know, especially after what happened with Eagle Moss, these things are not so easily replaceable. So back in the box it will go after I finish showing this to you. But yeah, the bottom section with the various core components, antenna arrays, what have you, are all there and look great. All of this is plastic. The bottoms of the, let me see. Okay, so the top section of the saucer sections are plastic, and the bottom part that fills in is metal. You can see where the pieces are joined together. This thing is fantastic. Wow. It's huge. You can see that it takes two hands to hold it, and if I were to put it in my hand, I'd have to hold it like that. But it gives you just an idea of how huge this thing is. And coincidentally enough, I can see us, humanity, building something like this in our near future, because it looks like something that's actually practical, particularly with the solar panels there. But I love the applications here. I love the United Federation of Planets logo there. Kind of imprinted behind the windows. Nice. And also, I want to point out the Jupiter Station patch, or mission patch, which is very reminiscent of NASA, etc., is there. So that's really cool. I mean, this looks fantastic. Folks, if you had a chance to get this station, I would highly recommend it. If you didn't already get it, it just looks great. Wow. I mean, it's just, I just can't. It's just great. Fortunately, it survived in the mail intact. No parts are damaged, particularly these antenna arrays and pieces that stick out. Of course, the box, it was very well packed. Of course, in the original box and in the box that it came in the mail in. So that's something to be grateful for. And yeah, guys, I would definitely recommend this one to you. If you're a fan of Voyager and you love space stations or just love space stations in general, then this is one for you. The detail on it is great, and I cannot stress that enough. I would have liked for the Federation logo to be a little bit more prominent, but it's kind of like in the background because the windows have to be over it, which makes sense, I guess. And I did mention the phaser strips here. I'm going to assume that that's what it is because they never said it, but that's what it looks like based on the saucer section stuff. So yeah, folks, definitely a good one here. It'll set you back about $40, maybe $50 if you can find it reasonably. I got lucky and got it at retail from somebody online, along with the other two ships that I mentioned before in other videos, like the Ferengi shuttle and the USS Bonaventure. So yeah, guys, definitely try to get your hands on this one, especially if you love Voyager and the Doctor in particular, or just love space stations. Yeah, guys, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to drop them. I'll be more than happy to get back to you. Until then, guys, live long and prosper, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. All right, bye-bye.